I could maybe trade some of this in. I'm not going to. Found an absolute banging deal on Vinted. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Free Trading Game Collection Challenge, the series where we look to build a video game collection exactly like this one for free without spending any money. How do we do that? Well, if you've missed any of the previous episodes, you probably are a little bit gaps here or there, or maybe if you've missed all of them, you've got no idea. Let me give you a very quick rundown, although I do highly recommend going and watching some of those episodes, if not all of them, so you understand how we've picked up a Wii U and a PS2 and controllers and everything that you see there. You know, that we've picked up a lot in this series. We go out and buy a video game related bundle or collection of things, flip part of it on to make the money back, take whatever's left over into CEX, or put it on the shelf if we like it. And that's generally how we've done it. So we've made our money back. In some cases we make profit as well, which is awesome, and we have a fair amount of profit in the series. Now, what do we do with it? Generally nothing, although recently, once a week, I have been going out and spending the profit. So between £5 and £15, we've been going to Game, CEX, I've been going to Cash Generator, and I will go to various other places like car boot sales and stuff and pick up games in one episode, no more than £15, that I wouldn't normally spend credit on. You know, when you get credit, you get like £30, £40 credit. You don't want to go out and buy, well, I don't anyway, I don't want to go out and buy like a bunch of £2 games. I'd rather go and buy something of a collection piece, you know, like a £30 game, a £20 game, something along those lines. Last episode, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, we picked up 3 games. They came to the value of £45. If we went out with £45 in credit, just buying cheap games, yes, we'd probably come back with 20 plus games, but they're games that we can chip off using the profit here or there. So that's what I like to do, and that'll be the next episode. And I pick up a pretty good game, very, very cheap actually, at the boot sale. Anyway, today is going to be a pure Vinted episode. We're not even going to CEX today to spend credit, although I could maybe trade some of this in. I'm not going to. Found an absolute banging deal on Vinted. It was about a week ago. I was going through my filters as I normally do for football shirts and things, couldn't find anything, and then I stumbled upon a particular Nintendo filter that I have, and I found this bundle. It was weird. I took a punt, £29 all in, that's including delivery of course, and it was untested. That generally means I've tested it, it doesn't work, but I don't want to tell you it's faulty, so I'm going to sell it as untested because I'd like a little bit more for it. That's generally what it means. However, let me show you the listing. It's going to give it away, but here it is. So it's a very terrible picture, but you can make out that there's an N64 there, and there may be something else yellow that we won't talk about just yet. And there's some games and like the corner of a controller or whatever. There's promise there. Now, in the description, all wires included apparently, untested, don't know if they work. That's it, that was all it said. Now with Nintendo 64s, there are so many different reasons why it might not work. And that it can be that the controller's not plugged in, it can be that there's no game in there. If you don't have a game in, it will not boot. The AV cable might not work, you might not have tuned it in properly, the jumper pack might be loose or not there entirely. So there are so many different reasons why a Nintendo 64 will not boot and why people sell them as faulty. So it was worth it alone for me on a couple of the games, and the fact that it came with an official controller, or so I thought. It was worth it. So I took a gamble. And I can tell you without even showing you anything, it was worth it. But let me show you. So the controller was an official one, because I could see out of the corner of my eye, or at the corner of the picture, sorry, that it looked like an official controller. With these though, unfortunately, there's always something that's not quite right. I say always something. 9 times out of 10 there's always something, and it's generally this. That is not a good stick. It's not the worst stick I've ever seen, but it works. I've tested it, played a bit of Doom with it. It's just very wiggly, and it's dirty as well, but it's just not a satisfying controller to use. And just so that you know that I'm not trying to fool you, that is the one that we got from the subscriber a couple of weeks ago with a very good stick, and it plays very, very well. So it is definitely a different controller. It did come with a 1 megabyte, I believe it is, unofficial memory card as well, which is always handy to have. Definitely going to keep that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this Nintendo 64 yet, so we'll talk about that in a second. The console itself then, does it work, doesn't it work? Well, I can tell you yes, it does work, and there was something wrong with it, and that's why the person who was selling it couldn't get it to boot. So here it is. It's not clean by any stretch of the imagination. It does have dirt on the grill and some marks on it as well, but it has a very good reset button. It works, and that power button is good as well. All 4 controller ports work. I've tested them all out. The reason this didn't work, does smell a little bit on the sort of mouldy side, is because it didn't have a jumper pack in it. That is what's called a jumper pack. That is essentially the RAM of the machine, right? Now, you can buy a jumper pack expansion. It's called an expansion pack with a K, no C. I think that takes it up to, like, I can't remember what it takes it up to, 64 megabytes. I think this is 4 megabytes if memory serves. But it didn't have one, and it just won't boot if it doesn't have one. So I had to buy one. Now, it wasn't expensive. I was expecting them to be around 10 to 15. I'll show you how much I paid on screen. It was about 6, and it was an official one. You can buy loads of unofficial ones, but someone was selling one, just like a business seller, for example. They were all selling the reproduction ones, what a lot of people would call fake, right? But someone was selling their own one, or what it looked like. Maybe they just found it and thought they'd chuck it up on eBay. But I bought that, whacked it in there, and it works. And it works well. So, and it has all the extra, like, little pieces for the bottom and things. That, I believe, was an expansion that only ever got used in Japan. I'm pretty sure there was a thing you could clip onto the bottom, almost like a drive, and you could play certain games. I don't think they released many, and it only got released in Japan, I think. I might be wrong in saying that, but if memory serves. I did actually record me opening the box, by the way, and taking it all out. Unfortunately, that footage got deleted by myself because I'm stupid and I didn't realise that file was in that folder. So, should we go through the games before we get into what could potentially be the most exciting part? These games are going into the collection. So first up, the boxed game, because I know you all want to know what it is. It was nothing exciting, unfortunately. F1 Grand Prix. I think I said last week, who wants F1? But there we go. We have boxed F1 on the N64. I'll tell you what, the box is actually in really good condition. It's okay, it's got like scuffs and marks and things, but what I mean by that is it's intact. It doesn't want to fold in on itself, which is something that a lot of the N64 boxes do and want to do, and I will prove that to you in a week or two. So the game is in there, and I believe the manual is as well. I hate taking these out, but I'll do it anyway for the sake of seeing if the manual is in there. So, I mean, there are leaflets, but I don't know if either of those are the yep, it is the manual. It's just missing the cover by the looks of things. I'm okay with it, you know, I'm not really that fussed. It's got a few questionable things in there. Going to leave that open actually and clean it, but that's game number 1. Nothing exciting. However, I'm pretty sure, and I'll show you on screen, I think CEX sell that for double figures. I think it might even be £14. I don't know why that figure's sticking in my head. I might be wrong, but I think it's in and around that amount boxed. So that's good. That's pretty good. Then we have 3 cartridge games. First one, we'll go from the cheapest up. So the first one is Turok 2, which is not a game that I played. Played the first one. I didn't play the second one because I wasn't a massive fan of the first one. That, though, is interesting because some of you may remember we nearly picked that up a couple of weeks ago. Someone was asking, I say nearly picked up, I had the opportunity to pick it up, I didn't. Someone in a boot sale was asking for like £6 for it, and it was a bit rusty, and we've just picked it up as part of this deal. But that will go into the collection. Then the next one, which is one of my, I wouldn't say favourite games on the N64, but I'm a big fan of this game. It's not expensive, but it is Lylat Wars. Now this used to come with a Rumble pack. I think CEX do still sell it with a Rumble pack actually. I think it might be £15. This game by itself I think is like £5-6 in CEX. That Turok game is £3 I think, but there we go. And then we have a game to go with one of our current N64 games. We only have 2, so it can only be one of 2, and there's only one Doom game. It is of course Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Now I would love to have this boxed to go alongside the other boxed Star Wars game that we have. I think there are at least another 2 Star Wars games though on the N64, and the chances of me getting, in fact there may be 3. I think there's Racer, there's the Naboo one which is quite expensive, and I think there's another one, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but that is about an £8 game out of box. So right there, we've managed to get about 15 quid's worth of games just in those 3, and they're all 3 that I'd like to keep in the collection. Turok 2, not so much, but it's not really worth anything, so we might as well keep it. And we have that F1 game, of course, to go with the other boxed game that is sat right up there. I think Doom is there as well. I don't know how I'm going to display the N64 games. I'll work it out. And then we get to the really disappointing and also quite exciting bit. The yellow thing that you could see was a Game Boy. I know. It wasn't a Game Boy Color, unfortunately. It was a Game Boy Pocket. Now, the really frustrating thing about this, the back of it is a bit worn. No game in it, unfortunately, although there are games. The frustrating thing about this is it doesn't work. There are no batteries in it, so I put batteries in, turned it on, and it's just completely dead. There's no power light, nothing. It is dead. I put fresh batteries in. I bought fresh batteries on Amazon just to make sure, and unfortunately it is completely lifeless. People still buy these faulty because they like to mod them and make their own. So maybe they just want the shell, maybe they just want the screen, maybe they just want the insides, whatever. People harvest them and they're still willing to pay around 20 quid for that, even though it doesn't turn on. So we can make the majority of our money back that we've spent here just on this, which is awesome. Now, if this was working, I would have kept it. But it doesn't work, so I'm thinking, what's the point in keeping it? I can't play games on it. So there we are. Now, speaking of games, I don't know how much 4 of these go for, but I know how much one of them does, and one of them is one that I'm not gonna get rid of it. I am gonna keep it because I don't have a reason to get rid of it, and I used to play it a lot when I had my Game Boy, and I'd like to keep it. In fact, I may keep all of them just for the sake of it. Don't think I'd ever collect Game Boy games, but there we are. So I'll show you the least exciting one first. We have Madden 2000, which is not a game that I've ever played on the Game Boy, and I don't ever intend to. I can't test these, of course, because the Game Boy doesn't work, so I don't actually know if they do work. We have The Mummy Returns. This is a Game Boy Color version with The Rock, which, again, I've never played. Could be quite fun. If it's a side-scrolling platform game, I actually really like those. And then we have got our original Game Boy game, Super Mario Land. Now, I'm pretty sure that could very well be like an £8 to £10 game. Maybe less, maybe 5, but I'm not sure. I think I've had that before, and I think I've sold it for between 8 and 10. It does have some questionable like teeth marks on it. I don't know if you can see, but it's fine. We'll keep it. Then we have another Game Boy Color game, The Simpsons Night of the Living Treehouse of Horror. That is a mouthful. But that is a game I'm definitely going to play once I get a Game Boy that actually works. That will be pretty good. So that's 4. 1 game to go. Like I said, I've got no idea how much those Game Boy games are worth. If I can find out, I'll quickly pop it up on screen for you. But this is the one that I know is worth about 20 to 25. A lot of you who know Game Boy stuff will know exactly what's coming. It is Pokemon Yellow, and it is a genuine cartridge as well. So that is a big come up, because that was not in the picture. In fact, it might have been, but it was in the machine when it came. And of course, it looks part of the console, so they may not have even known it was there was a game in there if they don't know what they have. But yeah, it was in the console. Unfortunately, it doesn't. The console itself doesn't work, so I can't test it. But we do have Pokemon Yellow. So how am I going to display these? I've got no idea. But we do have quite a few games going into collection. Technically speaking, we've got 4 N64 games and we have 5 Game Boy games. Now, I'm not really a massive fan of 2 of them in Madden and The Mummy Returns, but I don't think they're going to trade or sell for anything, so I'm not even going to bother. I mean, I'll look it up for the sake of the video, but unless they trade in for about £4 or £5 each, I probably won't bother on those 2, and Madden 2000 is not going to, let's be honest. What do I do with the N64? That's the question. That is the big question. I bought a jumper pack, so we are actually a little bit more into it. So we're £35 into this altogether, because I had to buy the jumper pack. I tested it with mine first to make sure that was the reason why, but obviously there was nothing there. So in my head I was thinking, well, it has to be that, and I put it in and it works. So, and I've tested it since getting that jumper pack and it works. I played a little bit of Lilac Wars and it was fine. So, what do we do now? And that's a very good question. My N64 that I have down there that is out of shot, the reset button on it is pushed in almost all the way and it doesn't work anymore, but you can still play it. It doesn't interfere with the game at all. You just can't reset the console, which I never do anyway. So to me, having that N64 as mine isn't a problem, because I'm never going to use that reset button anyway, so I don't really care. So I did think about swapping them out and selling the one with the broken reset button, but then that's going to give us less money back for a machine that it works anyway. So I'm not going to do that. I did consider taking it into CEX, but the controller has that dodgy stick, so I don't think they'll take it. It has a bit of a rattle to it as well. The do not remove sticker has been removed from the jumper pack. That might be a problem, it may not, I'm really not sure. However, I can't be bothered to take it all the way down there just for them to tell me, no, I can't take it. So I'm not going to bother. I think I'm going to sell it. Just get cash into the series. And I may do something that I've never done before. Instead of trading it in, because CEX are a little bit fussy and there's a couple of things that I'm not really sure of, what I might do is sell it. Sell the Game Boy for parts as well, because obviously it doesn't work. And then take the profit and go and spend just all of the profit, rather than drip feeding it into the series via the spending the profit episodes. Because like I said, I do enjoy doing those episodes. I will definitely continue doing it because we're picking up a lot of gems quite cheap. But I might go and buy like one specific game for like £40-50 that I really want, that I've had my eye on for ages, for example, that maybe I've not even mentioned, but it's just something that we don't really get into. So for example, if I can sell the N64 for like 50-55 and I can sell this for, I don't know, 20-25, we may be able to take around £40 into CEX or into a video game store of some description and just buy a console or a big game or something, you know, not a big game, but like a £40 game. So I might do that. Why not? Because it's basically the same as credit in a sense, but we are actually spending cash. Yeah, so I might do that. I don't know. Let me know. What would you do? Because obviously I could just keep one on the shelf and display it. And the eagle-eyed among you as well may have actually seen it up there on the shelf and may not have thought anything of it, because we actually had an N64 in the collection. But the one that you saw up there, if you ever saw it in the last 2 or 3 videos, it was actually the one that I picked up on Vinted. Let me know whether you caught that. But yeah, that's going to do it. Some games to be added to the shelf. Another boxed N64. We've started a Game Boy collection now, apparently. I'm not going to go out and buy loads of Game Boy games. There are a couple that I wouldn't mind picking up, but I'm more of a Game Gear kind of person. So in terms of the collection value, I'm not going to touch the cash profit value right now, because I don't really know if I've got my valuations correct. I need to have a little look on this to see if I can get 20 to 25. I might be able to push more, probably not. And it's the same with the N64 as well. I'm not really sure if I can maybe push a little bit more. Maybe I have to lower it. I don't know. So we'll wait until the next episode before we talk about that. However, the games, I'm going to go on eBay for these to get these prices, and we'll add those to the collection value now. And with the N64 games, because I always buy them on CEX anyway, and I always go into the store to buy them, I'm going to add the box value of that F1 game, and I'm going to add the unboxed value of these 3 to the collection. And that's the amount that we're adding. So we've added a substantial amount of money to the collection today either way, and we haven't spent any money on this because we will get it back through the N64 and we'll get it back through the Game Boy as well, even though it doesn't work. It was a calculated risk and it appears to have paid off. Happy days. They don't always pay off. If you want to see me fail in some risks, go check out the football shirt collection videos. But if you have enjoyed this episode, do me a favour and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until the next time, goodbye.